Star Wars Episode 9 is set to conclude the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of fans are very excited to see in this movie is, of course, the major twists and turns and surprises to come by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. They both worked very hard on the script. They are currently working very hard on filming for this movie over in Cardington, Pinewood, Black Park, and other areas around the world. So a lot really is happening for this film. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this movie when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. Now, what's really intriguing is that a lot of the revelations to come in Episode 9 will not only change our perception on certain elements of the prequel trilogy, but also changing our perception on certain elements of the original trilogy of the Star Wars franchise. Now, whether or not this is going to be a good or a bad thing, I'm not quite sure as of right now. It sounds like a big risk, if you ask me, by Disney themselves to essentially have revelations in Episode 9 that'll actually make us view the originals and the prequels in a slightly and/or major, way, or in a major different way. I don't know about you guys, but I think that it is a risk. I think that if you're applying a lot of revelations that are going to reflect on the prequels and especially the original trilogy itself, the big three, of course, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, and A New Hope. So those three movies will actually look a little bit different to us through our eyes after we go ahead and see Episode 9. So what does this necessarily mean? Could this have something to do with Jedi lore? Could it be something to do with what Luke Skywalker says in this movie, or does, or something that he reveals about the past? Could it also have something to do with yet another Skywalker, perhaps? I know a lot of you guys thought about the possibility of them essentially retconning that line of dialogue from Yoda where he says, no, there is another, where he could actually say something like that. Of course, that was really referring to Leia in the original trilogy. If they really wanted to, they could retcon that line and actually make it to the point where there's yet another Skywalker out there in the universe somewhere. I don't know, that's a little outlandish to me. But anyways, guys, I gotta say, when we're looking at Star Wars Episode 9, everything that's coming our way from this movie, it is very action-packed, it is very crowded, it has a lot of new characters, around 8 new characters coming into play here. It's gonna have the most planets out of every single Star Wars movie, and it will have a lot of fan service and nostalgia in order to satisfy a lot of fans around the world. So for this film, when it comes to some of the revelations changing our perception on certain elements in the original trilogy, I think most likely it's going to have something to do with the Jedi lore and or the Skywalker bloodline. Since we do know that a major revelation is on our way about the character of Luke, I think it's going to have to do with the bloodline of the Skywalkers. Now, we do know that that consists, of course, of Leia, Luke, and of course Ben Solo. They all have that mighty Skywalker blood. Now, when we look at Episode 9, J.J. Abrams is very ambitious. We do know that he has a lot of plans for this movie, and he also has a lot of plans and ways in order to tie it into the originals and, of course, in the prequels. Now, this movie's a big deal. He's got a lot on his shoulders. Disney and Lucasfilm know the marketing style of this movie. They're going to be marketing it as the final installment of the Skywalker saga. No ifs, ands, or buts, this is literally the last chapter film, which honestly is a little sad that we are actually going to be ending this trilogy so soon. Next year, the entire Skywalker saga is over, and after that, they're going to be focusing on the new Star Wars trilogy. So if we examine the originals, what's so great about the originals is, of course, the characters, the actors, and the actresses that were involved in the film, the pacing of the movies at the time, the technology was just superb, it was amazing. And there's just something about it. It really had, a lot of, I guess you could say, just excitement within it. When you watch those movies, you can just repeatedly watch them over and over. So if Episode 9 is going to reflect on the original trilogy, as it is going to from these revelations, I think it's a little, it's really concerning me a little bit, because if we look at it this way, We do know that Episode 9 is also going to be changing certain elements of The Last Jedi itself. You know, they're already recreating the Skywalker lightsaber. That's coming back into one piece. We do know that Kylo Ren's helmet is coming back. Pretty much everything that we thought was destroyed and or broken in that movie so far is making its way back into Episode 9. What else was missing in The Last Jedi? The Knights of Ren. Now they are back in Episode 9. So a lot of things really are going to reflect on past films here. But anyways, guys, what do you think about this overall? How do you feel about some of the revelations in Episode 9 that will actually change our perception on some of the elements in the original trilogy? They somewhat did this in The Last Jedi with Rian Johnson as the director and writer, where he basically made us look at the prequels in a different way, where Luke Skywalker's point of view is that the Jedi are essentially wrong, and that, well, they are basically, you know, just doing their own thing, and that it's not the way to go. A real Jedi, in one of the deleted scenes actually, you know what a true Jedi Knight would do right now, as Luke said? And he said, nothing. So we can see why that deleted scene, you know, was obviously deleted. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.